So, some of you might know by this point that I am divorced. I've been divorced now for a little over 5 years. Hopefully, he's going to be 6 soon. Going to throw a party with champagne and depression and masturbation. Woo! Anyway, back when I got my divorce, and I'll tell you guys that full story someday, I ended up becoming homeless. My ex-wife, basically, after cheating on me with three other guys, kicked me out of the house and left me with practically nothing. I technically had a place to stay, but very sparingly. So I was in this state of I needed a job, I needed money, I needed a home. So one day, my mom ended up dropping me off at a job fair. I was wearing lounge pants and a green shirt that had several hundred holes in it. It had, there was a hole right here. You could see the nipple. There was a hole up here, holes down here. And I was just completely in a complete ragged state. I didn't expect to get a job there. I didn't really have anything. So I went in, and out of all the booths, I eventually saw there was a booth hiring for a local casino dealer. And I went over there and I was like, hi. And there were 3 ladies there. 2 of them were from HR, and one of them was actually the person who trained dealers. So the 2 ladies from HR looked at me, looked at the hole around my nipple, looked at the looked at the woman who trains casino dealers. She looks at me. She doesn't look at my shirt. She doesn't look at anything else. She goes, "You want to deal cards?" I was like, "Sure." She was like, "I've been waiting all day for someone to say that. Fill out this form, go to this website, fill those out, give me a call, and I'll see you on Monday." I was like, all right. So I did. And I became a casino dealer. And I worked there for 3.5 years. And I'll go ahead and answer some of your more common questions now. How much was the most I ever saw someone lose in a single hand? $10,000. How much was the most I've ever seen somebody win in a single hand? $20,000. How much was the most I've ever seen someone win over an entire night of play? Around $150,000. How much was the most I've ever seen somebody lose in an entire night of play? Like $300,000. Okay, those are your most common questions. Let's get them out of the way now. All right, I understand whenever people hear about a casino dealer, they hear that you used to work in a casino. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, how much?" So, yes, I've handled a lot of money. And I'll tell you right now, when you first start, you get real fucking nervous. Like the first time someone ever handed me $1,000 and I was counting it out, my hands were shaking, bro. I was like, I was gonna fuck something up. By the end of it, of course, somebody would fucking slap $5,000 on the table, and I'd be like, "Changing 5,000," and then my floor would go, "You do it," or whatever, right? I generally had a good time, but I saw a lot of shit at that casino. One of the funniest things I ever saw, we had this rule where you couldn't get drunk. If you got drunk, we'd kick you out. And some people are like, "Oh, well, why would a casino do that? You're not allowed to get drunk in a casino?" No, because you ruin the experience for other people. And you might be thinking, "Well, how is that? I'm paying my money. I should be able to get drunk." We had a dude piss on the roulette table. Not fucking peed his pants a little bit. Literally so drunk, he got on top of the roulette table, whipped his dick out in front of God and everybody, and just started spraying like a fire hose. Now, thankfully, the roulette dealer saw him get up on the table and apparently had some future sight and yelled, "Everybody get down! He's pissing!" I remember I turned when I heard it. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I turned just in time to see this guy fucking cranking the thing. I mean, when he wasn't just pissing, right? He wasn't just hands on his hips, moving back and forth. No, he had it in his hand. He was turning like he was fucking cranking a dial. He was moving his wrist while he turned his body. That's why you're not allowed to get drunk. And that's not the only dick out story I have. There was so much more that happened. Bro, one time this guy went to the bathroom, didn't put his dick away, and walked from one end of the casino all the way to the craps table, and he was playing craps with his dick out, and nobody noticed. Until surveillance did. Surveillance, if you don't know, surveillance is, they're the guys who watch the cameras. They noticed. They noticed that his dick was all out, and they had to call security, and security had to come escort him out, because he just had his stuff out. And of course, that's not the only kind of stuff that was hanging out. We caught people fucking in there. There's a bunch of reasons you shouldn't be drunk. One of my favorite nudity stories that I used to tell all the time. I was sitting at the casino. Now, the thing about working at a casino, especially in table games, is you got to realize is it doesn't matter how dead it is. There's a chance that you're going to be kept there in case it gets busy. So one night, the whole casino is dead. There's nobody in there. There's like one guy, and I have a table that's completely empty. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just looking into space. I'm just staring off into space, thinking to myself, wow, I am really, really bored. And across the way, through like 3 or 4 slot machines, I see a woman sitting, and she's pressing a button. She's pressing the buttons, and there's something strange about her. So I stare at her a little bit longer, and then I realize her fucking titties are out. Just out and about, displayed for the whole world to see. So I call I call my floor supervisor over, and I was like, hey, Jared. He was like, what? I was like, a woman have her tits out, or am I crazy? And he looks, and he leans, and he goes, yeah, her tits are out. I'll go call security. I was like, wait. I want to see how long this lasts. 3.5 hours later, security walks up and asks her to put her shirt back on. I do not believe for a fraction of a second that nobody noticed for 3.5 hours. Surveillance was 100% up there, cranking their hog, and before they decided they were going to tell security what was going on. It was a weird time. It was a wild time. Like I said, I had good customers, I had bad ones. It was just a pain in the ass working there sometimes, because you were always tired. When you work in table games, you get a 20-minute break every hour to hour and a half, which sounds amazing, but I promise you it's not. Because you would have to get tapped off the table and then walk all the way back to the break room before having to walk all the way back out to the floor. So really, realistically, you only had like a 10-minute break. Because it would take, 5 minutes to get over there and then 5 minutes to get back. You're really realistically only a 10-minute break. You basically we didn't get a lunch, so you didn't really get to eat. You didn't have any nutrition. And the way that casino stuff works is you didn't have an exit time. You had an entry time. You showed up to work and they told you when to leave. You could work 1 hour. You could work 10 hours. My longest shift was 16 hours straight on New Year's Eve, which was bullshit. So I was always tired. I was always irritable. It was good money, but the money just really wasn't worth the mental. Like, because you just have stupid people, right? Stupid people coming up to you, bitching you out, and like just weird expectations. Like I had this one guy comes up to the table. It's him and a woman, and they're dressed like they're going to a fucking 1930s ball. Like they're dressed to the nines. Good suit, probably a suit that costs more money than I make in a year. Fucking beautiful dress. They both sit down, and the guy looks at me and he goes, have your waitress bring us your finest Chardonnay. I said, brother, where the fuck do you think you are? What? I said, dude, this is the Walmart of casinos. I just saw a homeless guy sleeping out back. There's a lady over there with her Scottish Terrier that just pissed, and nobody's gonna clean it up. Like, this is not... We have beer. I can get her to bring you a beer, but you're gonna have to wait till she comes around. Well, why can't you press the button? What button? Where do you think you are? And there's just other stuff, too. Like, I had a guy... So stupid. I had a guy come up one time. He drops $200 on the table. He puts it all on one hand. I flip a 21 on blackjack. I take the 200, I put it in the tray. He looks me dead in the eye and goes, "You should fucking kill yourself." And he walked away. What the fuck did I do? What did I do? I didn't fucking tell you to do that. And that's another thing people bring. I had one guy, one time, he looks at me, he loses like $600 in a night, and he goes, "It's your fault my wife left me." What? What do you mean? So you might be thinking, God, Kaiser, all of this like bad stuff that's like weighing on your mental. What made you quit? What makes me quit every job? Management. So here's the story. After being there for 3.5 years, I took it upon myself to learn how to deal more games than I should have. And they were never putting me on these games, and I got skipped over for promotion probably about 3 or 4 times. And I got really frustrated and really pissed off. And it seemed like every single month there was another bitching complaint about me. If you guys haven't recognized by now, I don't really have a filter. Right? I don't have a filter. I can kind of hold my tongue when it needs to be held. But for the most part, if you're being a jackass, I'm going to call you out on the fact you're a jackass. So I was constantly getting complaints because people would treat me like shit. I would return their energy, and then they would get mad. So then I decided, oh, fuck it, I'm just not going to talk, because every time I talk, I get in trouble, and then I would get in trouble for not talking. And then I would slip up, and I would say shit, or ass, or damn, or what the fuck ever, right? And then I would get complaints about cursing, which is the dumbest fucking thing, by the way. I worked in a casino, a place full of adultery, and sin, and gambling, and you're bitching about your dealer cursing? About saying shit? That's like walking into a tattoo parlor and getting pissed off that the guy who's going to be tattooing you up is covered in ink. What the fuck do you mean? Regardless, I got frustrated. One day, they wrote me up for cursing in front of a customer again. And I was like, that's really fucking annoying, but whatever. So I come to work the next day, they bring me the same complaint, and they're like, "We're going to have you take a class on customer service." And I took off my badge, and I put it on the table, and I said, no.